The Allen Lund Company continues to support the owner-operators of OOIDA. Thank you for what you do, and stay safe.
OOIDA, representing America's truckers since 1973, presents Landline Now with your host, Mark Redding.
It's no secret that trucking can be a lonely and challenging job. Dr. Ben Stafford of Lamar State College is trying to help. He's working on an important project geared toward truckers that could literally save lives, and he joins the show today to tell us about it. Aurora took a big step forward late last month when the company deployed fully driverless semis. Mark Schremmer and Tyson Fisher of Landline magazine discuss why future runs will have a human in the cab and what it might mean for the future of autonomous trucking. And finally, many will remember the 1978 movie Convoy. Well, an event at a recent truck show got Marty Ellis thinking about that film. I'll talk with the man who drives the spirit of the American trucker. But first, the news with Scott Thompson.
Thanks, Mark. New details tonight about the strict emission standards that started in California and spread to more than 10 other states. The U.S. Senate following the House's lead in passing a Congressional Review Act that blocks California and other states from implementing 3 separate regulations, including advanced clean trucks. The goal of the regulations was to phase out internal combustion engines in favor of low-emission electric vehicles. For truckers and truck manufacturers, the rules would have phased in mandates for manufacturers over the next 10 years. By 2035, 40% of Class 8 truck sales would have been required to be zero-emission trucks. However, this week's actions in Congress repeal an EPA waiver that made the rules possible. President Trump is expected to sign off on the move. Trucking industry groups are applauding the move as well. The Owner-Operator Independent Drivers Association, in a statement signed by President Todd Spencer, said setting national policy is the responsibility of Congress, not California. He added it's no wonder small business truckers have left the state in droves to find better opportunities elsewhere, because for OOIDA members, vehicle reliability and affordability are critical. Spencer went on to say that so far there is no convincing evidence that electric commercial motor vehicles are a viable option for small business truckers, given the high costs and inadequate charging infrastructure. The American Trucking Associations and Truckload Carriers Association are among the other trucking groups that also applauded the repeal of the waivers. The story may not be over, though. In response, California Governor Gavin Newsom and Attorney General Rob Bonta said they would file suit against the moves in Congress. Both said in a statement that the Senate vote is illegally using the Congressional Review Act to attempt to revoke California's Clean Air Act waivers. The state leaders said it defies decades of precedent and contradicts the Government Accountability Office and Senate parliamentarian, who both ruled that Congressional Review Acts do not apply to the waivers. The Owner-Operator Independent Drivers Association is voicing opposition toward a budget reconciliation package that passed the House on Thursday. In a letter signed by OOIDA President Todd Spencer, the association spoke out against a new $100 annual fee on small motor carriers that is included in the bill. The provision would create a new public website that displays a motor carrier's fitness to operate in interstate commerce. The $100 fee would apply to anyone accessing that information, including small business truckers. OOIDA wrote that its members already pay numerous federal taxes and fees and believes Congress should be eliminating unnecessary taxes, not creating new ones. The association also opposes another part of the bill that continues a policy that prevents employee truck drivers from utilizing a per diem tax deduction. OOIDA told House leaders it's time to restore the per diem tax deduction for employee truck drivers and allow truck drivers to get overtime pay. Overall, OOIDA told lawmakers that the current budget proposal fails to improve the truck driving profession. The bill did pass the House. It's now in the Senate's hands for review. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit has upheld California's worker classification law known as AB 5. The controversial law, which was signed in 2019, creates stringent standards to determine whether a worker is an employee or an independent contractor. Many in the trucking industry have argued that the law effectively ended the lease owner-operator business model in the state. The Owner-Operator Independent Drivers Association, which represents small business truckers, told the Ninth Circuit that AB 5 violates the Commerce Clause and the Equal Protection Clause of the U.S. Constitution. However, the Ninth Circuit last week ruled in favor of the state. OOIDA President Todd Spencer said that the association is disappointed in the decision and is in the process of reviewing its options. A Texas bill backed by OOIDA that takes aim at nuclear verdicts is nearing State House passage. The House Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence Committee voted this week to advance legislation that focuses on recovery of damages in civil actions. The Texas bill is touted to bring about uniformity to courtrooms by defining non-economic damages such as pain and suffering. At a recent hearing, OOIDA and others said the bill would address abuse of the legal system. OOIDA board member Danny Schnautz, president of Clark Freight Lines in Pasadena, Texas, provided testimony at the hearing. He told committee members that the state is heading in the wrong direction with nuclear verdicts. Schnautz pointed out that in 2023, 6 of the top 10 verdicts in the country were handed down in Texas, with outcomes totaling more than $200 million. Missouri officials have once again extended an overweight allowance for motor carriers and drivers, helping with flood relief across the state. The emergency, first issued on April 5th, came after flooding along the Merrimack River in southern Missouri. The waiver allows private and for-hire motor carriers providing direct assistance to haul up to 10% more than their licensed weight, axle weight, and or maximum weight limitation allowed on Missouri highways. After the recent extension, the order now runs through June 30th. Researchers at the University of Alabama at Birmingham are reaching out to long-haul truckers as part of a new study. The name explains the goal, exploring occupational exposures and health risks among long-haul truck drivers, tobacco smoke. Cancer risks aside, the study is also looking at the amount of access long-haul truckers have to health care, which can mean that illnesses aren't diagnosed as quickly. The study is open to smokers and non-smokers alike who travel through or live in Alabama. It involves one session during which participants will provide a small hair sample and complete a survey. Participants do get $50. Truckers who do business at ports in Georgia have a new tool at their disposal. The Georgia Ports Authority releasing a new mobile app that's designed to help with efficiency. It's called GPA Trucker. Inside, users can verify their PIN before arriving at the Port of Savannah's Garden City or Ocean terminals, find information about changes to gate hours, and access a digital version of a ticket that can be saved or transmitted to a driver's trucking company. And finally, finding a message in a bottle isn't just something that happens in movies. 2 boys in Poland can attest to that. UPR reports that the pair of 10-year-olds were walking near a beach when they came across a message in a bottle that turned out to be a handwritten love letter from 1959. The faded handwritten note inside was written by a girl and addressed to Bunny. It spoke of feeling lonely at school and thinking fondly of her memories with Bunny. The boys who found the bottle said they have been in contact with the museum in the hopes that the letter's author can be found more than 6 decades after it was written and tossed into the ocean. That's Lane Line Out News for today. I'm Scott Thompson.
Thanks, Scott. Verdicts against truckers and carriers have become bigger and bigger over time. But now, a number of people in government recognize the problem. And in Texas, they're ready to do something about it. A bill there, SB 39 in the state Senate and HB 4688 in the state House, would tackle one aspect of that issue by allowing only evidence about who is at fault in the first phase of trials regarding crashes that involve trucks. You can find a link to where you can express your support for the bill on our website, landlinenow.com. Many truckers have had the same experience. They're going down the road, and a car full of people deliberately pulls right in front of them and jams on the brakes. It's a common scenario when people are trying to stage crashes in order to sue the trucker, the carrier, and their insurance company to get some cash. Now, the Staged Accident Fraud Prevention Act, or H.R. 2662, would fight that problem. Call to show your support today at 202-224-3121 or by going to the website fightingfortruckers.com. Next, Dr. Ben Stafford of Lamar State College discusses a project geared toward truck drivers. We'll be back in just a moment with more of the show. I'm Mark Rettig, and this is Landline Now.
At Truck Stop, we've built a better load board for carriers like you. Sign up today and access over 600,000 loads on the most trusted online load board. Learn why the best in the business rely on Truck Stop to make more money and start driving your profit today.
Are you tired of the IRS following you around like a dark cloud? Call 888-557-4020 and get your life back.
Firestone's FD694 drive tire for long haul and regional applications now delivers 126,000 more removal miles than the Yokohama TY517 MC2. Contact your Firestone commercial dealer to learn more.
Landline Now, welcome back. It is no secret that trucking can be a lonely and challenging job, one that can sometimes lead to depression and some pretty dark thoughts. And while it's improved in recent years, there's still a bit of a stigma when it comes to mental health. Our next guest is trying to help and is working on an important project that could literally save lives. Dr. Ben Stafford is the Vice President for Workforce and Continuing Education at Lamar State College, Port Arthur, and he joins us on the line now. Dr. Stafford, thanks for joining us.
Scott, pleasure to be here.
And we're going to talk about this important project that you're working on here in just a moment. But I want to start with your background there at Lamar State College, Port Arthur. Tell us a little bit about what you do there.
Yes, Scott, I'm the Vice President for Workforce Development. We are a state college owned by the state of Texas. We're the educational arm of the state. The focus of my department is threefold. I need to find the unemployed and prepare them for the highest paying job in the shortest amount of time. I want to find the underemployed and prepare them to promote. And then I want to provide the ongoing training that keeps the Texas workforce at its peak. So when Texas bids, Texas wins. And this applies to commercial driving in a big way. Texas is the number one state for residents who are active as commercial drivers. We are also the number one state for residents who are active in the field of logistics in general. We take transportation very seriously, and we're always looking for issues that affect the lives of our commercial drivers.
And that is a perfect segue because this project that you're working on is an issue, obviously, that does affect commercial motor vehicle drivers. We're talking mental health here. Tell me about the project and what you're doing, and I think also what prompted you and your colleagues to start it, because as you pointed out there, if it deals with a commercial motor vehicle driver and their health, that you're thinking about it, right?
Yes, we are. This is a project that originated early in the year 2024. The college has a very large commercial driver training program, and we are also a third-party examination provider for Department of Public Services. So we provide both training and testing. And we work with trucking companies and with philanthropic entities across the state of Texas to carry out that goal. One of our major partners, the TLL Temple Foundation, approached the college, and Health and Human Services had seen a spike in the statistics of suicide among commercial drivers. The spike occurred in 2021. Truck drivers popped onto the top 20 list for suicides in Texas by category. And historically, drivers don't make the list. Historically, drivers are quite content with what they do. They drive because they want to drive and they enjoy driving. So it was unusual to see them pop onto the list. But more concerning, in 2022, the number remained on the list and rose. It rose from 95 confirmed suicides in 21 to 134 confirmed suicides in 22. The largest rise by category in the entire top 10 list. They were very concerned and shared it with us. We echoed that concern. And so what we've tried to do is create a product specifically geared to commercial drivers that they can access for free 24/7 while they're on the road, because it's not readily possible for a driver traveling cross country to find a mental health professional where they happen to be.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. You talk about the rise there. Have you gotten into the causes for that? My first thought, obviously, is with the timeline, the pandemic Is there a correlation there, or have you kind of pinpointed that?
Without a doubt, the pandemic is at the heart of what's going on. As I say, historically, drivers don't make the list, and it did pop up in the immediate pandemic and post-pandemic years. We think it had a lot to do with drivers being away while their families faced critical illnesses, drivers being on the road when either their wife or their children or their husband were sick, and you simply can't just turn around and go 1,000 miles back. It's just not possible. Yeah. In addition, in interviews with drivers, we find many drivers talking about being waved on during the pandemic. You had actual service stations or food stops where they would wave a driver on and say, man, we don't know where you've been. You can't stop here. We don't know how contagious this is. Yeah. And so the driver who's bringing the food the area needs to survive is being waved on from getting their own food. Yeah. But while it was very concerning in 20 and 21, there is initial data out for 23 at this point, not final data, because there's not confirmation on whether each alleged suicide, will actually be determined to be suicide or something other. But it's concerning that this trend continues. Even coming into post-pandemic years, we see this trend continuing.
Yeah, it is very, very concerning. With regard to the project, so you've kind of talked about it. You're speaking with drivers who have had some of these dark thoughts before. You're getting, testimonials from them. You're talking with them. You're interviewing them, and you're putting this together for a video. Talk about what the finished product is going to look like, and I think we're still a little bit of a ways off from seeing that. But talk about what exactly you're trying to do here. Is it hearing from these truck drivers and their experiences and trying to relay that message to others out there who, again, may have some issues with their mental health that they want to tackle?
You are right on target. It's the finished product is going to be a mix of interview vignettes with actual drivers and drivers' families. The organization of Owner-Operator Independent Drivers Association and the National Trucking Foundation, the American Trucking Foundation, have both sponsored the project, both sent email blasts out to actual members. The members were asked to contact us if they were willing to be interviewed. Many people have contacted us. And so we will, throughout this summer, we'll be flying members of the organizations who have agreed to be interviewed here to Texas, to be interviewed on site and then flown home. And what the final product will be, both a video product and an audio product that can be downloaded to the drivers as they're on the road. And it will alternate between clips of actual drivers talking about what they've experienced and then clips of a mental health care professional talking about what are the credible steps you can take when you're alone on the road and you feel these same feelings. So it'll provide both sides of the story. And I think it's critical that we've been able to reach through these associations to real drivers who can relate to and will be related to by the drivers actually on the road. What's it really like when, you're 1,000 miles away and your baby is sick and you simply can't be there? We've actually got one, I think, wife who is speaking about her husband who did commit suicide and what it's like on the family and what they would have done differently when they spoke to them last if they had only known.
Wow. It's obviously a powerful topic and a difficult topic to talk about. And what I think is interesting about what you're doing and important about what you're doing, and you kind of touched on it there, is that there are a lot of mental health resources out there for people who are in need of a little help. I am not aware of, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm not aware of a specific program for truck drivers as you put it, that is, a story told by truck drivers, designed for truck drivers, for people who can relate to the experiences there. Is there anything else out there like this right now that you know of?
Scott, there is not.
Yeah.
There is not. We touch base with multiple professional associations across the United States. This project is being sponsored by TLL Temple Foundation, who works throughout East Texas, then the Texoma Foundation that works through Texas and Oklahoma, and the Roundhouse Foundation, who works in Oregon. We talked with these philanthropies and others. None of them knew of any services that were provided specifically for truck drivers. The trucking associations and their foundations had no specific material that pinpoints what a trucker needs to hear that they can relate to and actually get benefit from. So the end result is the product simply doesn't exist. They don't know what the resources are close to them, and it's frequently not easy to find any resources if they're traveling through a rural area, which is the life day to day for a commercial driver. So it will be a product absolutely unique on the market. And I think our hope is to make it readily accessible in digital and audio formats, so no matter what they have available, they can download something and have some access to relief immediately. Excellent.
At the end of the day here, when the video comes out, when you've put it all together and you've got a finished product to put out there, I think I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Your hope for this is that it literally could save lives out there, right?
Oh, without a doubt. We hope for it to be immediately applicable to truckers who are on the road and available to them for free 24/7. But then take a step back from there. We are a very large trainer of new drivers. We will immediately implement training on suicide prevention to all the drivers training with us who are going to become drivers so they don't enter the field unaware. And we will immediately then provide training at our Texas associations to reach out to all the other trainers of drivers and make this available for free. And then we'll bring it to the National Association of Junior Colleges, again, making the material free to every driver training program we can find so that they can address the need up front at the same time that we address the need amongst current drivers. And I think with that two-prong approach, our hope is to see the whole category of truck transportation drop off this top 20 list when we see this list in 24 and 25.
Yeah, you're doing important work. I think that's safe to say. Thank you for your time, Dr. Stafford. Thank you for your work on this important issue. And we will have you back in the fall when your video comes out, hopefully.
We'll look forward to it, Scott. Thank you so much.
Our thanks to Dr. Ben Stafford of Lamar State College, Port Arthur. To reach out to him directly, if you'd like to be part of this study, you can call him at 409-984-6354. And if you're having thoughts of self-harm, please do reach out to someone. The number to the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is 988. Someone is available to talk on that number, 988. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We've also got all this information on our website, landlinenow.com. And with that, we'll take a break, but Landline Now is back right after this.
Dispatch, I picked up that load of steel, so I'm ready to roll.
Sounds good. Remember, we're getting paid by weight, so make sure to use a CAT scale.
I wouldn't weigh anywhere else.
Forget misaccuracy when you're truck on a CAT scale.
Penske is the trusted source for quality used trucks. Whether you search our website, call our sales staff, or bid at our online auction, you are sure to find the right used truck for your business. Visit PenskeUsedTrucks.com to view our inventory and learn more.
Welcome back to Landline Now. Aurora takes one step backward. An NTSB report highlights the need for more truck parking. We've got another nail in the Advanced Clean Trucks coffin and more. It's been a busy week, so we've brought in reinforcements. Tyson Fisher and Mark Schremmer of Landline Magazine are here, as they are apt to do, to break down the biggest stories of the week. Gentlemen, good to see you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's start down in Texas with this situation with Aurora, which we have been talking about quite a bit over recent weeks. As people may know, they ramped up their deployment of autonomous trucks, taking a step forward, actually having fully driverless trucks hauling loads on Texas roadways. But they took a big step backward this week, Mark. Let's get people up to speed for those who may have not been following the news. Essentially, they are putting a human back in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
Back to square one.
Yeah,
kind of.
Sort of. It's all very confusing, and so much has happened since their initial deployment on April 27th. So we're not even quite a month away from that, and we've gone from them hauling loads with sometimes somebody in the back seat with, and sometimes completely empty is the understanding. But now PACCAR, who they partner with, had requested that they put a human back in the driver's seat. If you remember, before this April 27th deployment, for numerous months, if not even more than a year, they had been doing runs on Texas with a person still in the driver's seat. They were mostly using the autonomous technology, but they did have what they called at that time a safety driver in the driver's seat. Assume at that point that that driver had the ability to take over the truck if need be in all of those situations. Now, Aurora is referring to this person that is now in the driver's seat, not as a safety driver anymore, but as an observer.
Yep, that's the word they're using, observer.
And I asked if that observer needs to have a CDL, and I have not gotten an absolute direct answer, but based off the answers that I've received so far, it's indicated that they believe no, that person does not have to have a CDL because they're adamant that the technology is still doing all of the work. That person's just there to observe. My question's about specifically why PACCAR then requested to have a person in the driver's seat.
Right.
It was, dare I say, gibberish.
Yeah.
It was just really not, it was so vague and clear. It just felt like, you ask somebody a direct question and then they start telling you about something sort of related, but it has nothing to do with and that's kind of, where we're at. So, and then, we reached out to PACCAR about their reasoning. They said no comment. They deferred all questions to Aurora. So it's just a really bizarre sort of situation that we have here. We apparently believe that there's a need to have a person in that driver's seat, yet they also can't do anything to take over the vehicle. So it's just bizarre. They say it has nothing to do with safety of having that person in the driver's seat, but also don't give a clear answer of why they need to be there then.
I hesitate to jump to conclusions, but I would imagine, just based on what we know, that PACCAR made this decision because they have concerns about the safety of this. They may not say that. Aurora definitely won't say that.
Yeah.
But reading between the lines, it seems like that's what we're talking about.
But that's the thing is that, but now if they're doing that and that person doesn't have a CDL,
what's the point?
Then what's the point?
Right.
And then that's, in some ways, it feels, that's more dangerous. I mean, and I understand when they were sitting in the back seat, it didn't matter whether that person that was in there or not. They were in there more for the purposes of that warning device regulation that we talked about putting cones out, or about, if they did have a blown tire, that they could, take care of that. Those sort of things of why the person was in the back seat. But this isn't just saying that every of their trucks needs to have a human on board. They're saying that they now need to be seated in the driver's seat. So you got a hold of the steering wheel, you're in the driver's seat, but you can't do anything about anything. So I think I said last week that I didn't want that backseat job. I also don't want the driver's seat observer job.
We've already put in your application, Mark. I'm sorry. It's on its way. This would be enough of a story in and of itself, but we also had, and Tyson, we were talking earlier about this, we also had that investor report recently that painted a picture of they're not in a good place, I think, based on the investor report that we got. I think that's safe to say. So when you put these two things together, it raises a lot of questions about where we might be headed.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes that we just don't know about. Yeah. That investors report. So, on May 8th, when they had that earnings call where they were announcing everything, the co-founder, I forget his name, but the co-founder of Aurora announced that he was stepping away from the company and basically doing the same job over at General Motors. And that investors report had noted that other top leadership had recently left. We have this whole thing going on with PACCAR, which that investors report did mention that. In fact, I think PACCAR, they weren't quite ready to, or they didn't give the green light to use their truck for some operations. And so in photos that Aurora used, they removed the Peterbilt logo on the nose of the truck. There's a lot of weird things going on. And we don't know what, but what we do know is the observer is now at the front. We don't know why, what their purpose is. Yeah. But I think at the end of the day, what is clear is that they're not really making their case as far as driverless operations, which is what they're trying to do. They're trying to say we can do this safely and efficiently. And right now,
the evidence doesn't point to that.
It does not, no.
Again.
Yeah. And also from a business model standpoint, because whether or not, maybe they could pay them less than a CDL holder or whatever, part of this whole point is they should be able to run basically 24 hours with nobody on board. There'd be lose that expense. But right now they're only running daylight hours. They can't go in high winds, can't go in light rain, and they still have to have a human on board for all of them. So I don't really understand the business model either. Just pay a truck driver.
As you said, we have reached out to Aurora. If we hear back, we'll of course tell their side of the story here. But again, we're kind of reading between lines. We're looking at what has happened and what they're telling us, and it appears that the pause button is being hit on at least the operations there in Texas. But we'll keep an eye on that. I want to get into this NTSB report on a 2023 crash in Illinois that happened along Interstate 70 near a rest area. There were 3 people that were killed when a Greyhound bus slammed into 3 trucks that were parked on a ramp. The NTSB conducted an investigation, Tyson, and not surprising to anybody in this room, but they found that a lack of truck parking was a contributor to what happened there.
Yeah, they did. And it's kind of a huge finding because, right off the bat, so first of all, it's worth noting that the primary cause was the bus driver's fatigue, right? And there's a whole history behind that. But, that aside, if there weren't trucks parked on the exit ramp to this I-70 rest area, this probably wouldn't have happened. So, the NTSB said, we have a problem here. That problem is a lack of truck parking, and that's why these trucks were where they were at. And so they kind of went into it. And one of the things they mentioned, and they were really put an emphasis on, was funding. That the reason why we're here is because we do not have enough funding, and that we haven't had enough funding. We have been asking for funding. I think one of the board members even pointed out that this is something that they have been talking about for, I think he said, 2 decades, and yet here we are having the same conversations, the same situations over and over again. One thing that they talked about multiple times was Mike Bost's Truck Parking Safety Improvement Act, and then the chairman of the NTSB even pointed out that it is not customary for the NTSB to, support or say anything about congressional funding for specific programs. But she said this is a unique situation. And although they are not formally endorsing any type of funding or whatever, strongly hinted at that maybe this is a thing that we should do. And I think pretty much everyone agrees on that. But yeah, one of the things they said was that maybe expand programs to include, so we have different types of grants, for example. So we need to include truck parking in more of these grants was one thing. Another thing that they mentioned was something that the American Transportation Research Institute mentioned in their recent rest area parking study, which is federal funding can be used to build these truck parking facilities, but they cannot be used for maintenance and operations, which cost money every year. And so a lot of state DOTs aren't building the truck stops or the rest areas because they can't fund the maintenance of it. So NTSB is like, yeah, let's allow federal funding for that too. Also, and this was a kind of a curveball for me, they also suggested that maybe we look into lifting the federal ban on the commercialization of rest areas so that we can allow public-private partnerships to build these rest areas and make some money to basically fund, again, the maintenance of this. So a lot going on, but at the end of the day, high-profile crash, truck parking partially to blame, and now the NTSB is saying, all right, we need the money, let's do it.
I don't mean to be a pessimist. I just don't know what it's going to take for everybody to get on board and realize how big a problem this is. Congressman Boss, we've talked to him on the show. You've talked to him as well. And he understands this issue as well, if not better than anybody out there. And that's his thing. He keeps coming back to that. This is a safety issue. People are losing their lives because of a lack of truck parking. And this is a case that highlights that problem as well as any other out there. So I'm not sure what it's going to take. Hopefully, we get action on this, and we don't have to see more people killed needlessly because of this lack of truck parking. It's not going to solve all the problems out there, but obviously would go a long way toward solving a lot of them. I'll get off my soapbox now. Real quick here, we've got a couple minutes, but a lot of action in the Senate this week. Tyson, you've been following Advanced Clean Trucks. I think we might have a final nail in the coffin?
Yeah, so the Senate recently just passed the Congressional Review Act resolution. Basically, they just killed the Advanced Clean Trucks Act and Advanced Clean Cars 2 and the Omnibus Rule. Basically, the Congressional Review Act resolution, it reversed the EPA waiver that's necessary to implement those California's vehicle emission rules. Again, Advanced Clean Trucks being included in that. Huge news. It essentially kills Advanced Clean Trucks for California and all the states that adopted it. It's going to be interesting what the aftermath is going to be because the method by which the Senate was able to execute this is, I would say, it's problematic. It is not. They did it legally. They did it, the way it's supposed to do. But there's a lot of ethical questions on, how the CRA was executed and how this would mean for future CRAs later on down the road. But I think the takeaway for today, at least, is, according to the CRA resolution, Advanced Clean Trucks, Advanced Clean Cars 2, dead. I mean, in final, too.
And as we found out from states who have tried to implement Advanced Clean Trucks, at least, they've come back and said, this is not feasible. We can't do this. 40% of sales were supposed to be zero-emission trucks by the year 2032 in these states. And the states and manufacturers have both said, it sounds nice, it looks nice on paper maybe, but it's not going to happen the way things are right now. Tyson, Mark, we've covered a lot of ground. It's been a busy week. We appreciate you both coming in here. And if you want to check out Tyson and Mark's work on these issues and many others, you can go to landline.media for all the latest there. Gentlemen, we appreciate your time.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Our thanks to Mark Schremmer and Tyson Fisher of Landline Magazine. We're heading into a short break now, but hang tight because we've got more Landline Now for you coming right up.
Protect your diesel engine with Howe's Diesel Defender. Restore vital lubricity, eliminate injector deposits, and boost fuel economy by 5% or more. Power, performance, protection, all in one. Howe's Diesel Defender, available now.
With rising costs affecting everyone, switching to a genuine Vibrotech TVD viscous damper can help you avoid expensive repairs and downtime. Save money and keep your truck running smooth with ViberTech TVD. Recommended replacement at 500,000 miles or 15,000 hours.
Since you started, what you've loved about trucking is the freedom. Heading out on your favorite route, a good driving song, and thinking about truck insurance. Well, maybe not that last one. That's why we're here. At OOIDA, we have a full range of truck insurance products, expert advice, and great customer service, helping you get the right coverage for your operation. Go to OOIDA.com, because your job is to drive. Our job is to help with everything else.
Landline Now, welcome back. Every week, we check in with Marty Ellis, who drives OOIDA's tour truck, The Spirit of the American Trucker. If you work in the trucking industry, you should be familiar with the C.W. McCall song, Convoy. It was the anthem of trucking in the 1970s, a #1 song that led to a national CD craze and also inspired a 1978 movie. Well, an event at a recent truck show got Marty thinking about the film.
Carolina west to Denver, up to Bangor, west to Austin, coast to coast, sea to sea, sail on, sail on.
Well, Marty, how you doing?
I am lovely, Mark, and you?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much. We got a lot going on here, so let's just dive right into the issues that folks have brought up to you. And you put one on your list that got me curious. It's just one word. It says convoy. That can mean a lot of things. What's got your attention here?
And yes, it can mean a lot of things. And I hope you've realized by now, some of the time when I send you my little notes, I purposely don't get into detail.
I've noticed that, yes.
Just to pique your interest.
And you have.
But at the Midwest Pride in Your Ride truck show a while back, they were doing their version of a reenactment of the Convoy, in the movie where the cops are, and it had the Mac in the front. Okay, it wasn't the same Mac. Okay, so it wasn't identical, but I just thought that was a neat little twist on a truck show to give people more things to kind of look forward to. And I talked to Eldon. He's the one that runs that truck show up there.
Great guy.
Yeah. And he says, Marty, I said, I do my best to keep them wondering what's next. And I think that is so smart with any event that's on an annual basis. Can you come up, even if it's not reinventing the wheel, but can you come up with a little extra twist to keep people saying, you know what, I'm going to go back there next year to see what he's come up with now. And it's not just him. He's got a great group of people. We always go toward the leader of whatever group it is, the event is happening, but they do a great job. And, they do the truck drag races. Now, I did not take the truck out there. I did happen to back the truck over there so I could get a picture of it alongside the speedway there, but I held back because Daimler may not be happy with me if I tried to break any speed records with it. So, and we appreciate the use of the
Western
Western
take part in dragging the sleds either, right?
No, no sled dragging.
Still keeping Daimler happy.
Absolutely, and we totally appreciate the use of their truck. And so we try to treat it with great respect, but I was able to get a few pictures of it with the green and yellow lights there. So, I had to do that just for fun. But, I just thought that was kind of a neat twist with the Convoy theme. Even though they couldn't get the exact replica trucks, they made it really look cool.
Was it all older trucks? Was it all era appropriate?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And then the police cars were era. One looked like the one on Mayberry.
Mayberry RFD, the Andy Griffith Show.
Yep. And then the one looked like the car from Smokey and the Bandit.
Nice. Very nice. Trans Am.
There we go.
Oh, that was supposed to be the I shouldn't say it, but that was the one that guys that really wanted to look macho, they'd get themselves a Trans Am.
Yep, that really skyrocketed the purchases of Trans Am. After
Sure
that
it
movie.
did, yeah.
It was great.
But it is kind of a cool car, so it's not like it was. Didn't have anything to sell before that.
Yeah, years ago we actually had somebody that rebuilt one of those Trans Ams.
Oh wow!
And we were able to convince the sheriff's office to chase it into the truck, into our convoy in South Dakota, and he chased them in there. And you could hear people saying, because we didn't let anybody know what was happening, and so it was a total surprise for everybody. And you could hear comments like, "Oh my God, does this guy not know he's getting caught because he's coming right into here and there's nowhere to get out," and things like that. So it was a lot of fun.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Well, we got a little bit of time left here, Marty, so let's try another topic here. And once again, you've left me a vague, simple 2-word phrase here, young blood.
Yeah. See, I'm glad you have the list there because I didn't bring my list. So
we're both surprising each other.
Exactly. See, young blood, okay? How we always, we're constantly trying to get young people into the industry.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I had a gentleman come in one of the stops that I had out on the road. It wasn't at a truck show. It was just at a regular stop. And this guy right now is, he was 23. Yeah, 23 years old. And he's a company driver at the time. I mean, he still is right this minute.
Yeah.
But this guy, was such a sharp kid. Okay, and I can call him a kid, can I?
Yeah, you can. They're all young to me.
That's right. And it was so exciting to see his excitement about the trucking industry, even though right now you and I can talk about, the rates needing to be higher, the, law enforcement always picking on the truck drivers, regulators always wanting to regulate more. And this guy is excited about the trucking industry. He has already purchased a truck and a trailer paid for with cash, okay? This guy is starting off right.
Yeah, he is.
Okay, he's already been working on both, making sure that they're all ready to go. He's already got one customer going out. He's working on other customers coming back. So this kid got me excited, okay? This is... I love to talk to everybody out there. Okay, don't get me wrong. I want people of all ages and sizes and everything. But this kid was just such a breath of fresh air because so many times, we get together and we, the rates are bad and people are driving crazy and things. But boy, when you get somebody that's young and is so eager and excited about the industry, it kind of gets you excited. And we actually had one of our life members in at the same time, and he was the same way. Okay, he got excited just as I was getting excited because this is what we had a whole lot of that back when I started. But it seems like it's either dwindling or we're just not being able to see it, as often as we did then. And when we do, though, we have to take these kids, these young men and women, and show them and help them, okay? And one of the, he came in and said, well, I've heard of you guys, but talk to me some more about it, And we were able to, between me and our life member, able to let them know the benefits, how we can help not only get him where he wants to be, but keep him safe and legal with all the stuff that goes along with it. And so I look forward to him becoming a life member.
That's wonderful. And I'm glad that you encouraged him. I remember once being called upon to take part in a career day, and the teacher beforehand told me she wanted me to give a realistic look. And I said, oh, so you want me to crush their hopes and dreams? And she said yes, so I did, but this is better.
Yep, exactly.
Well, Marty, we're running out of time here. Any final words before you ride off into the sunset?
Hey, just be kind to one another and give that driver next to you a break.
Brothers of the highway, children of the wind,
Once again, that was Marty Ellis, who drives OOIDA's tour truck, the Spirit of the American Trucker. You can find Marty's next stop on our show and every day at our website, landlinenow.com. That includes truck stops, truck shows, and other special events across the country. Again, that's at landlinenow.com. That's our program for today. Thank you for joining us. I'm Mark Reddick, and this is Landline Now.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe. If you want more content, go to landline.media to get updated news, information, and archived editions of our show. Once again, that's landline.media.
I'm a dad,
a son,
a husband,
wife,
I'm a writer,
photographer.
I farm.
I'm a veteran.
I love old cars, fishing,
my kids,
Chrome, and I am
a professional truck driver.
And together we are OOIDA.
OOIDA was founded by truckers to stand up and speak on behalf of truckers. We've done that by combining the individual voices of our members into a single, powerful voice. Protecting your interests, defending your rights.
Join us!
Make your voice heard. Join OOIDA, the Owner-Operator Independent Drivers Association. Call 1-800-444-5791 or visit OOIDA.com.